Welcome to Tarragona from CellSpex. Today I'm going to show you how to perform a two-point calibration of your NeoFox. A two-point calibration uses the oxygen tension of air and zero oxygen tension to correct your NeoFox's calibration. So what I mean by correcting your calibration is that your NeoFox already has a calibration that converts the lifetime to oxygen tension, and that the two-point calibration, or maybe just a single point, is going to correct that calibration. If your NeoFox does not have any calibration, then see my video on multi-point calibration of your NeoFox, and please read the help. First, I need to collect the data with my system equilibrated with air and at zero oxygen tension, and I have the data here. I'm measuring the dissolved oxygen concentration in a little chamber which is stirred. The oxygen concentration is being shown in this graph. I do respirometry, so I'm showing my oxygen consumption in this graph, and this graph is showing me my oxygen tension on my PO2, and these are all as a function of time. So the first part of my data is my chamber equilibrating with air, and you can see it takes about 20 minutes. And then at this point I added a few crystals of dithionite, and that consumed all the oxygen in the chamber and gave me my 0 point. So now I have 2 points, my air equilibrated point and my 0 point. So to use this data to calibrate, I choose Acquire, Oxygen Calibration, and the NeoFox I wish to calibrate. And this opens a side panel allowing me to enter the data for the calibration. So the first thing I need to know is what is the PO2 of air, and that depends on the atmospheric pressure and the water vapor pressure and the humidity, and the water vapor pressure depends on the temperature. The atmospheric pressure will be read from your NeoFox. If you have a better measurement from a barometer, enter it here. Likewise, the temperature will be read from your NeoFox if you have a thermometer attached. If you don't, enter the temperature here. So if I enter 30 and press enter, this will be the vapor pressure. So I'm working at 37 degrees, so I enter 37, and this is my vapor pressure. And so the air PO2 is going to be the vapor pressure times the humidity subtracted from the atmospheric pressure, and then multiplied by 20.9% for the fraction of oxygen in air, and that gives the air PO2. Note, to get the air PO2 you need the humidity. When working in aqueous solution it's very easy because the humidity is 100%. To calculate the oxygen concentration you need the PO2 and the oxygen solubility, and the solubility depends on the salinity and the temperature. Look at the help file for a reference to find out how these are calculated. So we can now talk about the calibration. So this is the current calibration that this data was collected with, and these values are in millimeters of mercury because I'm working in PO2. So when the NeoFox gave a value of 1.1 millimeters of mercury, the calibration corrected it to 0 millimeters of mercury. And when it gave a value of 148.5 millimeters of mercury, it was corrected to 146.9 millimeters of mercury. So I'm working in oxygen concentration, so I need to work in oxygen concentration, and then these are the equivalent values in concentration. So I can go ahead and do my calibration now, and I can either do the 0 point first or the air point first, and I'll do the air point first. So I've selected air, I put 2 cursors on my data, I move it to the point where it's equilibrated with air, I select the trace and I press insert. And that will put the mean value between the cursors into this value here. And you don't need to use a mean and standard deviation cursor because it will always use the values between the 2 cursors. So let's place that calibration point in this column. Then what is calculated using the current calibration is what the raw value would have been to give me this value. And then after I accept this calibration, it will make that raw value this value, and this value is the concentration of oxygen in air, which is where we're equilibrated to at that point. So if I now click OK, that will have done a 1-point calibration, and I could have done the same thing with the 0, but I'm going to do a 2-point calibration, so I'm now going to select the 0. I'll do the same thing, I'll select my 0 point, which is down here, select the trace, press the insert key, and the new value appears here. And it calculates what the raw value would have been to give that new value, and then after the calibration that raw value will give this value. And so now I've done it. So I click OK and I'm calibrated. So I hope that was useful. Thank you very much.